What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be reading some embarrassing stories I found on Reddit the other day. I think today in my Minecraft world, I'm just going to be building this staircase from my base to this village. I'm awful at building, so please don't make fun of me. I hope you guys had a good new year, and let's get into it.
The first story we're reading today is called I got out of a bad relationship a few months ago and only recently felt good enough to get out of the house again. This was my first ever boyfriend, and he turned out to be a piece of crap. So I was obviously a bit hesitant. But some old friends from high school were visiting my town and asked if I wanted to go on a bar crawl with them. And I figured, fuck it, it's not like anything will happen other than getting drunk with some pals, so why not? At the first bar, we run into a group of guys from my university. I had seen some of them around, but never spoke to them before. One of my friends decides she's going to force me to get out of my shell and drags our group over to talk with them. I'm extremely quiet, like weirdly quiet to most people. So I end up sitting in the corner of our booth and not saying anything, just drinking and feeling awkward. Well, one of the guys in the other group, let's call him Adam, is also being weirdly quiet. So my friends and his friends, who are already tipsy, decide to make things as awkward as possible by making us play truth or dare, except we have to drink when we don't want to answer something. There are a lot of personal about sexual questions neither of us want to answer, so we end up drinking quite a bit. And by the time we're done the first bar, Adam and I are on a whole different plane of existence from everyone else. And it turned out we had a lot in common, and he was pretty cute, and we're goofing around and laughing the whole time. I started to get butterflies in my stomach, and not just from the alcohol. Adam has my exact sense of humor and is really sweet and kind. We wander off and start having deep, drunk conversations about feeling left out of things and how annoying it is when people say shit like, "Can they speak?" I tell him I'm walking home, and he offers to walk with me. I know where this is going, but I'm drunk enough that I don't feel nervous. Plus, I feel like I have a genuine connection with this guy. Our friends are wolf whistling as we leave, and instead of being embarrassed, I feel weirdly proud. So we get to my place, talk and smoke for a bit, and do the deed. I wake up earlier than him and decide I'm going to make a nice breakfast. I want to impress him and show him I like him. And everyone likes a good breakfast when they have a hangover, right? So I sneak out of bed and make scrambled eggs, French toast, and sausage. I prefer almond milk, so I use that for the eggs and French toast. He wakes up and tells me I look just as cute sober. At this point, I'm convinced he's the love of my life. He sees the breakfast and gets excited, and I'm like, yes, my plan worked. I'm going to get to his heart through his stomach. We eat and everything's going great for a few bites. Then he makes a weird face and clears his throat. His eyes start to widen and he asks me what if there were nuts in the bread or something. I say no, but I used almond milk. He jumps out of his chair and says, "Call an ambulance right now." I'm freaking the fuck out. He's wheezing and stuff and looks absolutely panicked. I ask if he has an EpiPen and he shakes his head no. So I call an ambulance and tell them he's having an allergic reaction and paramedics come and haul him off. This happened last weekend. I have not heard back from him since. I found his buddy and confirmed he is not dead. I guess accidentally triggering a severe allergic reaction does not lead to romance. TLDR. Tried to impress my romantic interest by cooking for him. He went into anaphylaxis and no longer wants to speak to me. The second story today is called, Am I the asshole for embarrassing my cousin and getting us kicked out of a restaurant? I, F25, don't have kids yet. I never really wanted them growing up, but I figure I'll eventually have kids in the future once I get my life together. My cousin Sarah, 29, has two bad-behaved kids from a previous relationship and a newborn baby with her boyfriend, MJ, 40. Last night, my mother, sister, Sarah, and I went to a sushi restaurant, and this was my first time having sushi. After we ordered, I had a hard time using the chopsticks. My cousin started obnoxiously laughing. The waiter came over and asked me if I wanted training wheels, which is a little plastic item that attaches to the chopsticks and helps you hold them in place. My cousin laughed and said, "Sorry about her. She constantly embarrasses herself in us." I just gave her the side eye and put the training wheels on. When it was time to order desserts, her boyfriend MJ finally joined us, claiming that he was busy. She went on to tell him how stupid and slow I was for not knowing how to use chopsticks, and how the waiters and everyone around now know that I'm an embarrassment. My mom asked her what her problem was, and she goes on a rant about how I'm so embarrassing, and it's no wonder I'm jealous of her being a mother, and no one wants to have kids with me. I finally had enough. I said, I don't have kids because I don't want them to come out like you're rude pieces of shit. And you're calling me an embarrassment? Didn't MJ just have a baby on you with his wife? Your baby literally has a sibling a week apart from her. You probably learned how to use chopsticks by eating his wife's leftovers. I guess when she was attacking me, it was fine because everyone turned on me. It got so loud that management had to get involved. Sarah was screaming and crying. MJ was yelling at me. And my mom and sister were berating me for being mean. Management brought the bill and told us to please pay it and leave. My mom paid the entire bill, but my sister said I'm an AH for embarrassing Sarah and getting us kicked out, and how she's probably going through postpartum depression. Now, IDK if I went too far, seeing as she's probably going through some post-baby stress. Eta, update. Thank you all for the overwhelming responses. I've been wanting to put Sarah in her place for a while now, and I'm glad I did. However, Sarah's mom got involved and is mad at me. Apparently, MJ told Sarah that him and his wife were separating. Sarah found out that he lied because she was secretly stalking his wife's Facebook page, and got the shock of her life when wifey posted a newborn baby and MJ was there for the birth. Sarah did the math and realized that he got both of them pregnant the week of his birthday. She confronted him, and he confirmed it. He also said that she'll have to get over it or he'll leave. So she stayed and is now constantly in shambles. Not my problem. Now, on to the problem. She kept the wife's baby a secret and only told her mom, who told my mom, who told my sister and I. So they said that they were pissed because I wasn't supposed to repeat it. But I didn't know it was classified information. After like a week, that's all everyone talked about. Sarah's mom, my aunt, reached out to me this morning, and she said that Sarah's problem with me is that I always said I don't like kids, and only a horrible person won't like kids, and that I was mean to her about her kids 2 months ago. 2 months ago, she wanted to go to a party with MJ and asked me to watch her kids, all 3 of them, for free. I told her no because they're untrained. I don't feel comfortable watching a newborn, and she'll have to pay me to put up with the other 2. So, I guess that's why she's still holding grudges. Regardless, Sarah's mom said she was having a really hard time after finding out about the outside baby, who technically is the inside baby, as Sarah's baby is the outside baby, but whatever. And she wants me to apologize for putting her business out there for everyone. She got my mom and sister involved, so I just called Sarah and apologized. She just said, I don't care what you have to say, and hung up. Regardless, I held up my end of the bargain. Hopefully this gets blown over soon, because your girl is tired. The next story is called, I started saying hi to the same stranger every morning, and it quietly rewired my whole year. When I moved to a new city, I told everyone I was excited. New start, new routines, new me. In reality, I was doing this weird half-life where you're technically surrounded by people all day, but you still go days without anyone saying your name out loud. My mornings were the same. Wake up, shower, throw in something acceptable, leave my apartment with that slightly stiff feeling like I'm playing a person who has it together. Downstairs, there's a little bakery on the corner. I started going there because it was the closest place that smelled warm. I'd buy the same thing every time, mostly because decision-making before 9 a.m. feels like a personal attack. A coffee and whatever pastry looked least likely to crumble on my shirt. And every morning at the same time, there was this older man sitting at the same table by the window. Always. Same corner seat, same newspaper folded into neat squares, same slow sip of tea, like time had never yelled at him once. At first I did what everyone does in a city. I pretended he wasn't there. Then one morning I walked in and the barista was swamped and the line was long and I was already late. And I guess my face was doing that "don't talk to me, I'm barely alive" thing. When I walked past his table, the man looked up and just said very calmly, "Good morning." Not in a weird way, just like I existed. I surprised myself by answering, "Morning." That was it. 2 words. But for some reason, as I walked out, I felt less invisible. The next day, I nodded first. Morning. He nodded back. Good morning. And then it became a thing. Not a friendship, not a conversation, just a small exchange that somehow kept me from going fully feral. Some days it was only a nod. Some days he'd add, cold one today, or you look tired, like he was stating a fact, not judging. And I'd laugh a little and say, yeah, and keep moving. It was so simple, I didn't even realize it mattered until the morning it didn't happen. I walked into the bakery and the corner table was empty. No newspaper, no tea, just sunlight on an empty chair. I felt this stupid immediate disappointment, like I'd lost something I didn't have the right to miss. I told myself not to be dramatic. People have lives. Maybe he just came later, or stopped coming, or got sick. I stood there way longer than normal, pretending to look at pastries, waiting to see if he'd walk in. He didn't. The next day, same thing. Empty chair. The next day again. And now it was this tiny, quiet worry I carried around all day, even though it felt ridiculous to worry about a person whose last name I didn't know. On the 4th day, I finally asked the barista, trying to sound casual. Hey, the guy who usually sits over there by the window, is he okay? She blinked, like she was deciding if I was safe, then softened. Oh, Mr. Leshner. So he had a name. He broke his hip, has in the hospital. His daughter came in and told us. He was upset because he said he missed his morning routine. I don't know why, but that hit me harder than it should have. Because I realized I wasn't the only one who needed that routine. So that night I did something I normally would never do. I wrote a note. Not a big emotional note, just a small one on receipt paper because I didn't have anything else. Hi, Mr. Leshner. It's the girl who walks past your table every morning. The bakery feels weird without you. Hope you're healing fast. See you at the window seat soon. Then I stared at it for 10 minutes like it was a confession. Next day I gave it to the barista and asked if she could give it to his daughter if she came in. I felt ridiculous the whole time. Like, who am I to send a note to a stranger? 2 days later I walked in and there was an envelope taped to the inside of the pastry case. My name wasn't on it because he didn't know it, but the barista saw me and smiled like she'd been waiting. That's for you. Inside was a handwritten card, the kind old people still send. Good morning, thank you for noticing when I wasn't there. I didn't know your name, so I asked. It's on the back of this card because my daughter said I should stop being stubborn. You were part of my routine to see you soon. On the back in slightly shakier handwriting, your name. I stood there holding that card and felt my eyes get hot immediately, which was annoying because I had to go to work and pretend I'm a functional adult. So I grabbed a pen from the counter and wrote my name on the back. Then I added, without thinking too hard, window seat is reserved. Don't argue. A week later, he came back. Walker instead of cane, newspaper still folded into neat squares. He looked up when I walked in and smiled like we've been friends for years. Good morning. Good morning. Same 2 words, same nothing conversation. But it didn't feel like nothing anymore. Because the truth is, I didn't move to a new city and instantly build a life. I built it the way you actually build things, one tiny repeated moment at a time. And sometimes it starts with something as small as an empty chair and realizing you'd miss it. Our last story is called, I helped a stranger pick an interview outfit, and months later, she saved my worst day. A few months ago, I was killing time at a thrift store after work, doing that slow, aimless browsing you do when you're too tired to go straight home. I had my headphones around my neck and my tote bag on my shoulder, and I guess from a distance I looked like I worked there. Because this woman walks up to me in the blazer aisle and goes really quiet, hi, sorry, do you work here? I should have said no, but my brain did that thing where it tries to be helpful before it tries to be honest. So I just said, what do you need? She exhales like she's been holding her breath for an hour. I have an interview tomorrow. I haven't done one in years. I don't even know what I'm supposed to look like anymore. She wasn't dramatic about it, just embarrassed. Like asking for help was the part that hurt. So I said, okay, show me what you're considering. She had 3 options: a blazer that swallowed her whole, a blouse that looked like it had survived a war, and a dress that was actually cute, but she kept tugging at the sleeves like she didn't trust it. We stood there for maybe 15 minutes doing the world's least official fashion consultation. I asked where the interview was, what kind of role, what she wanted to feel like walking in. She blinked, like I'm allowed to be there. That line hit me so hard I almost pretended my phone rang. So I helped her build something simple: the dress, the blazer that fit her shoulders, shoes that didn't look like they hated her. When she came out of the fitting room, her posture changed first, and then her face caught up. She looked at herself in the mirror and did this tiny smile like she surprised herself. Then she turned to me. "Thank you. Seriously, you have no idea." And that's when she pointed at my tote bag. "So do you get a discount?" I laughed. "I don't work here. I'm just a woman with strong opinions about blazers, apparently." Her whole face cracked open. She laughed so hard she had to cover her mouth. She hugged me right there by the clearance rack. "This is the nicest thing anyone's done for me in a long time." I figured that was it. A sweet, weird little moment. Then last week happened. Last week was one of those weeks where everything stacks. Alarm didn't go off, spilled coffee on my shirt. My boss hit me with a quick chat that was not quick. By the time I got off the bus, I was holding it together with pure spite and mascara. I stop at the corner shop to buy bread and something unhealthy, and I'm standing in line staring at nothing, trying not to cry in public. And I hear this voice behind me. "No way, blazer girl." I turn around. It's her. Same eyes, same smile, different energy. She looks lighter, like she's not bracing for impact anymore. I must have looked confused because she goes, "Thrift store interview outfit? You told me the shoulders were the whole point?" My brain went blank because I wasn't expecting to be remembered by anyone for anything. "Oh my God, yes, hi." She's holding a basket with normal Happy Life things: fruit, tea, some fancy chocolate. Then she looks at my face for 2 seconds and her smile softens. "Bad day?" I tried to do the automatic, "No, I'm fine," but my voice did that thing where it betrays you, so I just nodded. She doesn't make it a big deal, just reaches into her basket, pulls out the chocolate bar, and sets it on the conveyor belt with my stuff. Like, it's the most normal thing in the world. "What are you doing?" "Paying you back." I start to protest, and she cuts me off gently. "You don't get to argue. You helped me feel like I was allowed to be in the room, remember?" Then she leans in. "I got the job." I felt my whole chest do this strange warm drop, like relief for someone else can still fix parts of you. We walked out together and stood outside for a minute while cars went by. She told me she still has the outfit, wore it to her first day. Kept hearing my voice going, "Shoulders, you've got this." Then she said something that made me laugh even though my eyes were still wet. I'm not good at thanking people in a normal way, so I made a rule. "What rule?" "If I see someone on the edge of a bad day, I do one small thing that makes it less sharp." She waved the receipt. "Today, you're the small thing?" We went our separate ways after that. No dramatic music, no movie ending. Just a stranger turning a terrible day into a survivable one. And I know it's cheesy, but I've been thinking about it ever since. How you can walk into an ordinary place on an ordinary day and accidentally become part of someone's story. How sometimes you don't get a big sign that you mattered. Sometimes you just get a chocolate bar on a conveyor belt and a quiet, "I got the job." And honestly, that's enough.